Korean people should try learning Japanese, if only for like 1 month. So a little while ago, I was hanging out with 3 Korean people and a Japanese dude, and we were all speaking Korean. We were supposed to be practicing Korean, so we're all speaking Korean. And I'd always heard that Korean and Japanese are really close. I've heard there's a lot of similar words, gabang and gabang, Japanese and Korean, exactly the same. But it wasn't until this moment that I really experienced how close they really, really are. So I was hanging out with these guys, and we're all speaking Korean. And of course, as we're speaking, everyone looks at me and goes like, "Wow, you're American and you're speaking Korean. You're so amazing. You're so great." And they ask me, "How long have you been speaking Korean?" And at that time, I told them, "Oh, it's almost 2 years." And they go, "Wow, for 2 years, you're amazing. You're so great. Oh, that's so amazing. You're so awesome." I go, "Yeah, thank you, thank you." But you get pretty accustomed to this when you speak Korean. People are always trying to be super nice about it. So then they go to me, "Okay, almost 2 years." And they go to the Japanese guy and they go, "Oh, how long have you been studying?" And he goes, "Oh, only 6 months." Now the way he says it, he's trying to be polite by playing it down. All right, because he wants to look like, oh, he's only been studying for 6 months and I'm better than him because I've been studying for 2 years. So like he's lower than me. The problem was his Korean was like almost perfect. I mean, really, it's hard for me to tell because I'm not a native Korean speaker, but from my perspective, he looked extremely, extremely good at Korean. Like, if I didn't know, nobody told me he was Japanese, if he didn't look so Japanese, like he was very Japanese style of clothing, his hair was like the weird, that thing, and he was very Japanese style of clothing. If he didn't say that, if I didn't know that, I would have thought he was Korean. His Korean was just perfect to me. And really, I realized at that moment, Japanese and Korean languages are super, super similar. And it made me realize, I think Korean people should like try Japanese, maybe just for like a month, just to give it a try. So there's a problem with foreign languages, which is they're super useful. So think of subjects like math and science. Those are useful for humanity. Those are useful for humankind. We need mathematicians and we need scientists to push forward engineering, push forward physics, push forward medical science so that people can live longer. Those things are useful that way. But for the rest of us who aren't being scientists and mathematicians and engineers, those subjects are generally pretty useless. Languages are very different. Languages for anyone can be useful, especially English. But languages in general are very useful because all of a sudden you can communicate with people. And all humans need to communicate. Not all humans need to design a car. Engineers need to design a car, so they need math. All of us don't design cars and don't make, whatever the heck engineers do. So we don't need math. But everyone needs language, especially English. So it's weird because languages are useful, so people end up missing out on the fun side of languages. And people end up thinking that only English, every hour that I put into a foreign language should be in English, because any hour that I put into a foreign language other than English is a waste of time. But I'm going to say that learning Japanese can be not just fun, because you should be learning things sometimes for fun, but it can also be useful. Number one, think about this. Learning any language is a very personal thing. Everything I've ever learned in my life, I end up making I see there's 5 methods for studying, and then I kind of whittle down and I get to the method I like, which is do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that, and that's my method. People, even subconsciously, even naturally, do this with languages a lot because it's so personal, where you go okay, here's all these ways of learning a new word. I could write it 1,000 times, I could read it 1,000 times, I could make a bunch of yemun, a bunch of example sentences, I could use flashcards. There's all these methods. And then after you try all the methods, you're like, okay, that method is for me, which is great. The problem is sometimes you get stuck in that method when you should be trying other methods. And I think if a Korean person tries learning Japanese, they kind of open the door to all those methods again. They realize, wait a second, I've been writing it 1,000 times. That's how I've been learning English words. Maybe I should try And then in Japanese, they try flashcards and they go, whoa, flashcards are super useful. And then you realize, hey, when I'm learning English, I should try using flashcards again. So that's just one example. But I think in that way, you can find this new method for learning any foreign language. When you're learning Japanese, you might find a new method that you can apply to any foreign language, including English. And learning English is, of course, useful. The other thing is, I think Korean people can end up getting that feeling of being perfect in a language that almost no Korean person gets with English, because being perfect in English is super hard. So like I said, there's that general feeling, which is every hour you put into, let's say you're trying to learn Japanese as well as English, you think there's this feeling I think a lot of Korean people have, which is putting 1 hour into Japanese is 1 hour I didn't put into English. So I'm getting behind in English. So just forget Japanese, I'll just try English. The thing is, when we learn a language, I think when we learn anything, but especially a language, our skills grow logarithmically, like this, really hard, really fast at first, and then just kind of top off. So when you're starting on a language, you know zero. You can't say anything. Someone says, say something in Japanese, and you just go, I don't know Japanese. When you learn your first 200 words, even when you learn your first 1,000 words, you're learning how to say absolutely new things. You're learning a new ability. You're going, okay, before I couldn't say bag and shoe and weather, and now I can. You can almost explain ideas. So at first you're like, your skills are just going way up. But then after a while, you know all the words, and the new words you're learning are just synonyms for other words. So you learn like in English, maybe you know the word smart. Okay, and then as you get more advanced, you learn the word intelligent. Well, you already know how to say intelligent. It's just smart. So you end up getting all these words that are just synonyms, and your skill really tops off. So when you're learning a new language, each hour you put into that new language, you get a huge return, which is a really good reason why I should kind of give Japanese a try, because you can end up getting huge returns for very little work. The other thing is, there's this line of language skill that I've seen almost no Korean person ever cross. I call it the movie line. The movie line is, I think, when you're perfect at a language. When you could sit down and watch a movie in a foreign language without subtitles, and it's very easy and fun for you, and it's just like your own native language, you're perfect at that language. I think Korean people never get that feeling with any foreign language because they generally only study English, which is like impossible because it's so different from Korean. So I have a bunch of Korean friends and they get really good. They keep getting better and better, getting really close to that movie line, but they never pass it, which is sad and tough. I think, and you know what, I have a lot of German friends and French friends and European friends who do get to that line in English. And they get to that line because their language is similar to English. Well, Korean is not, so it's almost impossible to get to that line. If you learn Japanese, you can get to that line. And I know learning Japanese is not that useful, but just that feeling of being completely perfect at another language could motivate you to learn English more. And even if it doesn't motivate you to learn English more, it could be just fun and a great feeling to be totally, have your mind in a total other language, where you could just watch Japanese movies without subtitles and really understand what's going on. So just that feeling might actually motivate you to learn more English. Now also, here's the other thing. If I spend time learning German, it's really not useful, because German people already speak English pretty damn well. So every hour I put into learning German is kind of useless. Not useless, but if I'm going to go to Germany, they all speak English, so I'm kind of wasting my time. That's not true for Japanese. Many Japanese people don't learn English. So when you learn Japanese, you're able to talk to new people you couldn't talk to before, because they don't know the international language, which is English. So it's useful in that way. Also, on top of that, you know, I kind of speak French, and French helps me with English, because French words, English comes from French. So there's a lot of French words that help me understand the roots of English. If you learn Japanese and you end up learning kanji, kanji is basically hanja. So kanji could help you learn the roots of Korean language. It could help you kind of further yourself in the Korean language as well. I know that's kind of far-fetched, but you know, it's there. So for all of these reasons, you know, Japanese is very close to Korean, so you could possibly get past that movie line and become perfect at it and get that really good feeling that will really give you confidence. It could help you remember some good methods for learning another foreign language, which you can apply to learning English, so it's useful that way. And also, you can actually start speaking to some Japanese people. And you can actually use the language as the way languages are intended to be used to actually speak to people you couldn't speak to before, and that could be fun as well. So for all these reasons, I think Korean people should try learning Japanese, if only for 1 month. So if you like my video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate my video, give it a thumbs down. If you love me, if you hate me, please subscribe right here. Please leave comments on what you think. Maybe you learned Japanese and you really thought it was a great experience and you want to tell other people they should try it too. Maybe you disagree with something I said. Please put a comment there. Maybe you think I'm a big stupid poopy head for thinking anyone should learn Japanese and we should put all our time into learning English only. Please leave that comment as well. And please have a super most awesome perfect day.